What's up, everybody? So yesterday I made a video on the whole iPhone 14 lineup and the Apple Watch Ultra and what's really new in these products. The video is live on the channel, by the way, so you can check it out later. But anyways, after the video, a question came to my mind that whether the iPhone 14 base model is really worth it or not. If somebody has an iPhone 13 especially, should they upgrade to iPhone 14? I'm not talking about the iPhone 14 Plus or the iPhone 14 Pro versions. The iPhone 14 Pro versions are definitely impressive. But I'm talking about the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 14 base model. And the answer is quite complicated. It's kind of a yes and a no. Let me just present the differences between the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14. So the iPhone 13 has an A15 Bionic chipset. It has a 6-core CPU and a 4-core GPU. It is kind of the same chipset in the iPhone 14. It's still A15 Bionic, but it has a 5-core GPU instead of a 4-core GPU, and its neural engine is also, improved. So its AI performance is better than the iPhone 13, definitely. On the outside, the display is pretty much the same. The design is exactly the same, especially if you have the same color. So for example, if you had a product red iPhone 13 and you're going to buy a product red iPhone 14, and nobody's going to be able to notice the difference, to be very honest. Their size is pretty much the same, 6.1 inches display, OLED panels, both of them. When you go to the camera, both of them have a dual camera setup in the diagonal position, but the iPhone 14 has more of an upgraded system. So now it supports cinematic mode for both the front camera and the back camera in 4K at 30 frames per second. The iPhone 14 comes with an action mode, which is more stabilized video quality. The front camera, iPhone 14's front camera comes with an autofocus now. The iPhone 13's front camera does not have an autofocus. When it comes to RAM, the iPhone 13 has 4 gigabytes of RAM, but the base model iPhone 14 has 6 gigabytes of RAM. So you get a bump of 2 gigabytes RAM in the iPhone 14. When it comes to the Sos service, you have a simple traditional messaging service in the iPhone 13, but the iPhone 14 comes with a satellite enabled technology. It also comes with a crash detection service, but the feature is not available in iPhone 13. Now, the iPhone 13 comes at $700 right now, and the iPhone 14 comes at $800 right now. But if you have an iPhone 13 and you want to trade in, then you can trade in for $470 if it's in a good condition, according to the Apple's website. And then you will have to pay $329 for iPhone 14. So if you have an iPhone 13, you will have to pay an extra $330 to get the iPhone 14. For $330, you get one extra GPU core, you get 2 gigabytes more RAM, you have autofocus in the front camera, you get SOS via satellite, you get crash detection, and you have a slightly improved battery as well as a slightly improved camera system, especially if you're talking about the cinematic mode and the action mode. So number one is one extra GPU core. Definitely not worth it, to be very honest. Definitely not worth it. Autofocus in the front camera, they are selling it in a very good way, but to be honest, the selfie from iPhone 13 looks really good as well. And most of the people are not going to notice the difference between the autofocus thing. I'm not talking about the true depth technology, and I'm going to talk about it right now. The iPhone 14 has a slightly improved camera system, so now it can shoot videos in cinematic mode from the front camera as well as the back camera in 4K at 30 FPS, and it has an action mode as well. So that camera upgrade seems to be worth it for a niche of people, so for people who are photographers and videographers. But I honestly believe that people who are enthusiastic about videography, they're going to definitely upgrade from iPhone 13 to the iPhone 14 Pro or the iPhone 14 Pro Max, because that phone makes more of a sense. It has an improved battery life, and it's definitely worth it. The SOS via satellite, it's only for people who actually go to these remote places, like adventurers and explorers. So for them, it's definitely worth it. For most of the people who are not doing that, it won't make sense, to be honest. Crash detection. That's a really good feature, and I believe that this is literally worth it. But even if you combine all of that, then for $330, the iPhone 14 doesn't seem to be a worthy upgrade. If you want all of these features, then I would recommend you upgrade from iPhone 13 to iPhone 14 Pro at least. But the story of somebody who's coming from iPhone 12 or from Android is completely different. If you want to upgrade from iPhone 12 to iPhone 14, I think it's definitely a worthy upgrade. And if you're coming from Android to the iPhone, then instead of buying iPhone 13 for $700, just save $100 more, wait for a month, and then buy the iPhone 14 at $800. Definitely, like I would recommend that. But for somebody who has an iPhone 13, yeah, don't upgrade to iPhone 14. I would still recommend it, to be very honest, if it had a different design. Even if it had an upgraded design, like a notch and, with the dynamic island and everything, I would definitely recommend it because it's still a better experience. It's still a newer phone. But right now, yeah, it doesn't seem to be a worthy upgrade. If you want to upgrade from iPhone 13 to iPhone 14 Plus, that probably would make sense because you would get a bigger battery. But if you're somebody who is literally buying the phone for the camera and stuff, then definitely go for the iPhone 14 Pro because yeah, the iPhone 14 and even the iPhone 14 Plus will not make much sense for you. So that's pretty much it. If you want to check out the video where I gave my initial thoughts on the complete iPhone 14 lineup and the Apple Watch Ultra, then click on this video and you will find everything that you need to know in 12 minutes. All right, I'll see you next time.